Alright. Hi, I'm Travis, the King of Source Point, and you're watching The Experience. Hi, I'm Brian Haberlin, and I want to tell you a little bit about my new book coming out in October, Hellcop. Hellcop's been rattling around my brain for decades. When I launched Avalon Comics with Whilce Portacio, Hellcop was one of the initial launches, but I was wearing a lot of hats back then. So I gave over the reins to Joe Casey and Gilbert Monsanto, and they did a great job, but it was my baby. If you look at sketchbooks I've done over the years, there's Hellcops throughout. There are pages started, stories started. So let me tell you a little bit about the story. Discovering a whole new world that had only previously existed in our collective imaginations. A tale of adventure, betrayal. Hell's just another place, another planet with native creatures most on Earth would call monsters. And humans that have been there as long as they've been here. Doctors, lawyers, maybe too many lawyers. Please join me in October for the release of Hellcop and the Hellcop 3D Halloween special. Hey, I want to say thanks for watching, and I really hope you can go and ask your retailer to pick up Hellcop for October. There's going to be a 3D version with 3D glasses and the whole 9 yards, and the regular version, of course, too, with some pretty fun covers. Thank you for your attention, your support, as always, and hope you guys have a great day.
Everybody out there in comic book land, it's time for a minute to skim it. Man, my voice has still got that thing going on. I'm Miss Jen, and this is Bean. Hi. We're from Space Cadets Collection, but we are avid readers of comic books, and we want you to know what's coming out this week that might be coming to a comic shop near you, so that you can go pick it up, or you can at least call them tonight and say, hey, tomorrow morning I'm going to be there right away when the doors open. If you're looking for a comic shop near you, like you're traveling, you should use Comic Shop Locator. All you need to know is the zip code where you are, and it'll get you all hooked up. It's even more specific than Google's, which will just get you random stuff that might carry comic books. Have you guys ever Googled comic shops near you, and it's like half-price books?
Yeah. Or Walmart.
Walmart
shows up a lot when I go to places. It's like, oh, where's a comic shop? It's like Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
No.
What is it? All those places are fine to get comic books, but if you want an actual LCS, use ComicShopLocator.com. I'm going to start with there were a bunch of Thicc books this week, just so you guys know. If you like having the long reads by the fire, not really by the fire. Well, actually, part of you guys got a snowstorm this week, so enjoy. Immortal Hulk number 50, which is a culmination of the really awesome Ewing run. I love it. Thicc Books, that's right. This has all been taking place in the underneath, which is kind of interesting. With they who are above all. I like how they have like amorphous names for things that you're like, what? I don't know what it is. So this has been a big old long run that is amazing. Right now in the series, you have Joe Fix-It and regular old Hulk who doesn't really know what's going on. He's like the more simple Hulk. It's more like the Rage Hulk. You're used to hearing like Hulk mad, Hulk smash. That one. Joe Fix-It's the smart one. So he talks in full sentences. And they are wandering around trying to figure out what the end game is. Last we saw, the leader kind of encapsulated himself in this giant, like a four-faced spider thing in the center of the underneath. And they kind of do call it like it's like a chrysalis, or he's encapsulated in there. So they need to break into it, right? They want to get to the end of all this. What's really going on and who's driving all of it? Who is the one above all? You're going to get all those things answered finally. You're going to figure out who's the one above all. You get to see more interactions with Hulk and his father, which is like the big reason why he has so many psychological issues already to begin with. And it wraps everything up neatly to finish the storyline so that you can have the next writing team come on for Hulk, which this is a good reminding time for you that sometimes your local comic shop will assume that if you're on Immortal Hulk, that you want to go to Hulk next, which is Rom V and can't remember who the writing partner is. Please forgive me. But, oh no, sorry. They're going to Venom. I can't remember who's writing Hulk.
I bet someone in the comments knows.
Somebody
always knows.
But in any case, if you want to go to the new title, Hulk, you might need to let your comic shop know that you're interested in doing that, because they may not want to assume that you're going over to that title, since Immortal Hulk is a much different title than Hulk has ever been. But there are pitches for the new run of Hulk. Oh, I know who's running Hulk next. CADETS is, of course. CADETS is. They're letting him have the most powerful of all creatures. And you know what CADETS does? He uses them. So if you want to be on CADETS' Hulk, make sure you let your local comic shop know. And definitely get this Immortal Hulk 50. It's a really great finish for what has been a trip through the Hulk's mind.
And you have a lot of options for covers. I mean, I think we got 12 different covers in, and there's a lot of options out there for it. It's some pretty cool ones.
And by the way, thank you, Reed Pop, for sending this really cool shirt.
Awesome.
I don't think that this was meant like just for me, but it feels like it. It says Con King on it.
It has your name on it.
I mean, yes.
It's got to be for you.
And I'm a girl, so why would you send Con King to somebody unless their last name was King? I don't know. But anyway, thanks, Reed Pop. I'm going to pretend like you made it for me.
And so is that going to be like a number one? Like a Hulk number one? Okay, cool. Alrighty. Let's see, where am I going to start off this week? I'll start off up here with No One Left to Fight 2. Which, did you read the first No One Left to Fight?
No, what happened? Well, I think I probably read the number one, but I believe early on Hannah like established herself as like, you can't read this my book.
Okay. It's really good. And you can see just one thing I absolutely loved about this book is the use of color. I mean, it is awesome. And it just is beautiful. It kind of reminds me of I Hate Fairyland, where it's like the really bright color, but also some gore, some gross stuff in there too. All right, we got Ashton in the comments saying that he loved Volume 1. Well, this one, it definitely picks up right where the first story left off. It is a little bit of a like, where am I coming in? Anybody who read the first one is going to be really happy because it picks up right where it left off. I haven't read the first part of it, but I did figure it out, and I did get really invested in the story pretty quickly. First few pages, though, I was a little kind of putting together some context clues on it. But basically what's happening in here is so this guy right here in the background with the red hair, he is injured and is fighting for his life. And there's a lot of confrontation between the three of them because it's basically a love triangle between these three folks on the cover.
It's my favorite kind of story ever. Tension.
Yes, there's lots of tension, and there are lots of literal fights as well. So it's tension resolved in these awesome theatrical, like literally people are like using like lightning fist punch attacks on each other to deal with emotional tension in the love triangle. It's so good. Like I said, it's an awesome use of color, and I had a really good time reading it. And I really want to go find volume 1 now. Like I hope that they re-release the trade paperback where we can easily find that, because this one was a really fun one.
Yeah, you should be able to
I
find
love
them
you.
out there.
Punch with
That
lightning.
is dark.
Yeah.
It's Dark Horse if you guys are trying to figure out how to find them. So
Yeah.
look for in the Dark Horse section if your LCS is split up by company. Okay. More awesome stuff. X-Men #4.
I love that
This is-
cover.
This is I don't know why this one. It looks like they have this horseman on the front, but I'm telling you that's not true. That is a misdirect. There's a different character in here who's called Nightmare. So I don't know if he's a new character or not. I always assume if I've never heard of him before, they're a new character, but it could be, dude sitting on bench, C-rate character that's becoming very important because Hickman. But in any case, this character is the one that's the main one in the very beginning of this book, who's messing with everybody as they sleep and giving them, of course, nightmares, because that's what his character does. And he messes with the wrong X-Men. And he gets taught a lesson, which is my favorite thing in the world. You're like, when they put a character in that feels very OP, overpowered, and then they get taught a lesson by one of the tried and true members. You're like, yes, Nat man, nice. But that's it. Just keeps furthering on the story of that you've got the other part of Krakoa on Mars, and they've taken over Mars, and that is now a sovereign mutant planet. And you've got that weird group that I can never remember it. I'm going to say it's Utopians, and that's not it. But you know who I'm talking about. Those guys. Mentions them again. So it is totally right in the main storyline. But it's awesome. Watch this dude. Get this book to watch this dude get his butt kicked and find out by who.
Was it kind of spooky? Because it's nightmarish or not?
No, I mean it's psychological horror is what he uses.
Okay.
You can see him, which each character he visits,
Mhm.
you can see what he believes is their worst nightmare.
Okay.
So that's what he's poking at them with. So that part is terrifying because I think he's pretty right on with what he's messing with them about. There was a panel that I took a picture of on my phone so I can have it for after release day, where it has my favorite X-Men kind of in a vision in his favorite form that I like, which is dead.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh, speaking of lots of death, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, #0. So
It's only been a hot minute since that's been out.
Yeah, I know. And this one's coming back, and then also the other big news, I bet everyone was freaking out at New York Comic Con that Saga's coming back.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard, if you've been under a rock, Saga's coming back January 2022. So that is...
It is a time to definitely connect with your local comic shop and make sure they haven't either accidentally deleted that title in their pull system or assume that no one wants. Make sure you're live for it if you don't want to miss, because, issue 55 was forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. And so Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I was not keeping up with this. I didn't read it before when this was coming out, but and so I'm jumping into this one cold as well. But this one was a lot easier of a transition. There's a whole description of exactly what's happened prior to this one starting. It's really good and also very dark. So like I said, I had not read Chilling Adventures of Sabrina before. This book goes hard. It goes hard.
The show is like that too. It's you feel like you're gonna watch some cutesy, Archie thing, and then there's some saint worshiping.
And what's her? Who is?
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but it's so good. But basically, this one, it's issue 0, I believe. Yeah, I've got the sticker on that one. And it basically picks up where the previous comics had left off, and she has resurrected Harvey after he's died, and she now has to commit murder in order to keep him alive. And this all is explained in like the first few pages. And let me tell you, that's not even like the main plot. Like, that's like the initial plot, the initial setup. It gets wild. I don't know how so much. This is not like one of those super thick books. Like, a lot happens in here. Because that's not even a spoiler, because we go into really what's going on. There's a whole conspiracy. I'm not sure if they're new characters, but they're definitely characters that have played a background role. If they haven't been revealed before in the comic. And it's wild. They're not safe for children. Don't give this to children.
You think Archie, and you're like, oh yeah, my kids.
No. They usually put one of these out for Halloween Comic Fest every year. And the last one had, like, I think open rape in it. And people were accidentally giving it to the kids. It was pretty. Yeah. It was an interesting situation.
This is why we have things like minutes given.
Yep. That's why we save you from those embarrassing situations. Don't give it as an ante to your, nephews.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good for adults, though. Very good. Good for adults, not for children. So, and you can see on the front of it says, "Hi, sorry I've been away so long. Did you miss me?"
She was almost Texan for a second there.
Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be read, I'm pretty sure. So, she's from Texas, right?
She is now.
But yeah, this one was really, really good. It definitely made me want to read the rest of this and keep up with it. Definitely a very good bridge between the previous comics and the new series they're going to be coming out with.
All right. These Darkhold books, man, are making me so happy. So what's been out so far is Darkhold Alpha. This is Darkhold Iron Man, which is the first of the ones that are tied to specific characters. This book isn't tied to anything else, so you can read it as a one-shot. And it's a tale that involves Iron Man. Looks like it appears to try to be taking place right after Tony gets back from his being kidnapped in Iraq. He's still in his that really cool I forgot what the first one is called. It's not Ironmonger, that's the bad guy. But the first M whatever armor that he has, the really heavy metal stuff. And it's his interaction with Pepper, which you find out her real first name, which I did not know before. And interactions also with Happy and with Jarvis. They're all key to the storyline, but it's not a storyline you've ever heard before. And thank goodness it's not a real storyline, or at least I hope not. If this is like a Darkhold, like alternate reality, and we have to see these characters this way again in the real world, real Marvel world, I don't know what we're going to do with them. But it's really spooky what happens. Like Tony Reek programs the armor to try to make it so that it will heal him whenever he takes damage, and that goes way too far. It gets way out of hand. It gets really creepy and dark. So if you want something to spook yourself out that involves Tony Stark, which is usually just a smack talking book, it doesn't ever feel very serious. This is a really kind of like serious. I can't call it a what if because it might be real to the continuity, but man, it's dark.
Yeah,
he looks. Tell me Happy's name's not Happy.
They don't address that part.
I was going to say, he looks gross. He looks like he needs medical assistance on the front. Like, is this him? Is that Tony Stark?
There's all kinds of hints in that picture.
Oh my goodness!
The storyline's about. And Happy Hogan, he was hired not because his ability to drive, but because he's a boxer. Who knows? That's all I know. I'm sure he has a really good history that takes place in the older books that we just aren't privy to. I just haven't gone back that far.
Alrighty. Next up, we have.
I'm super jealous you got to read this book. I come back here now. So Bean is back here doing the processing of the book. So it's fair, right? Bean's done all the hard work of working with a crew, putting them in bags and boards and all that stuff. So that's when I come back. Bean's already got first tips. And I'm over here like going, well, what the what?
Oh, I give you all the Marvel. I put them in a neat little stack for you. So
there is at least that.
Yeah. This one is really good. This one is Ian Fleming's James Bond, Himeros. And this one is as classic James Bond tale as you can get, pretty much. It is really, really well done. And it's the first part of it, and it reminds me so much of the novels, because the movies tend to really, they'll have that little like time where they're kind of introducing you to the world and kind of introducing you like, oh, this political climate that's going on. The books really leaned into that more than the movies, which makes sense because movies are movies. You want explosions and car chases and fights and stuff right off. But yeah, and this one, it starts off and it really takes the time to take you through who these people are, these different political actors. You do see a guy get murdered like in the first few pages, so there is action, but then you got to figure out why he got murdered, who murdered him, and it's basically boils down to there is someone who does not want certain other people to testify against them. They know the secrets, and there's a woman who is going to be able to testify, knows these secrets, and James Bond basically has to go find her and save her. As the briefing goes, they're like, the woman that you're supposed to be protecting may be more dangerous than the men trying to kill her. So she is a very kick butt, femme fatale type, and he has to come after her, of course, in his sports car and full of guns and guns blazing, all the good stuff, and they're on the run. He's trying to keep her safe and as safe as he can. It does take both of them to fight off some of these. Safe, yeah. And so he is helping out. He's helping out some. So it's going to be a very good series. I'm not sure how many issues are supposed to become from this one.
They do 4 to 6 for James Bond.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that Dynamite books are all really good, but the James Bond series they've done, including Single Shots M and Money Penny and this mini-series with Felix Leiter, have all felt like they understood Bond and were doing Bond correctly. Like, so much so, like the most recent run that they ran was Agent of Spectre, in which James had to go undercover within the Spectre organization, which I need to finish. That was like, this needs to be on the big screen. So I'm hoping that Hollywood's paying attention to some of these storylines because they're epically good.
Yeah. And this one definitely is not. They might reference, but definitely it begins with the situation. They're like, we're sending in James Bond. Like, you don't have to have read any of the others prior. Like, James Bond just rolls up in his sports car. No real prelude needed for that. You know who he is.
Yeah. He knows who he is too.
Yeah.
James Bond be James Bond you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I didn't know what to think about this series. I'm actually hoping that I have enough for everybody for the demand of this book. This one is Legends Black Panther. And the way it was pitched was kind of like it was going to go back over the historical legend of Black Panther and give you more information. But it made it sound like it was going to be kind of like rehashing of old things. And that's not the way I feel like this is. This actually goes back and I think presents a character that has never been revealed before, because it goes back to when T'Challa is young, and you get to see not only Shuri is much younger, but other members of the family, which I don't remember there being before, and how you get to see interactions between his mother and father and how they run the country. And the first interaction they have with having anybody inside of Wakanda's borders in order to have, I think they're going to do maybe trade or something. It gets really complex like things do, because the Wakandans have done really well for themselves having no interaction, and it's always super risky to let, to have change happen, but without change, nothing can really make progress forward. So to have a utopia that's just yourself, not including anybody else, is that really what everybody wants or no? So this kind of addresses that a little bit, and it has to me it's mostly about the interaction between the other siblings that we didn't see before. So I have a feeling this is a first appearance because I really have never heard of this character ever. So
Nice.
I feel like maybe this is new for everybody.
And Miss Jenna, they've already accomplished something.
Yeah. All right. Next up is ETER, which I've been really excited about this. Just from the cover, I have been so excited for this book. And I will say, I mean, you can see on the cover, we got a whole motley crew here. And
Yeah.
and especially, I mean, look at this. Look at the tiny doctor. Look, he's on the shoulder. Little tiny doctor. Got to zoom way in to see him. But so what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna pull up my phone. I'm gonna show a panel from the artwork inside the book because it is a little surprising because the artwork that's on the cover is gorgeous. Inside, also gorgeous, but in a very different way. So it's a very different style. When you actually get into reading the book, you can see my phone there. That's the style, which you referenced an artist that reminded you of.
I don't know if it is Treadmore, but it looks like Treadmore.
Yeah, it's not. I believe it's. Not sure. It's Javier Pulido is the artist on it. But just so that you're aware, you pick up this book and you open it. It is going to be a very cool, like more cartoony style, which I feel like it brings something different to the story than what I was expecting. And it's really good. It kind of sets your expectations somewhere else, for it. Very cool story. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. It's pretty much what you expect. It's a hospital on Earth that is catering to aliens. And it's about a doctor who unexpectedly is asked to come and suddenly start working on the aliens. Kind of accidentally. She gets introduced into the alien ward. And so it's just about, it's cool sci-fi, weird medical drama of like patient and doctor interactions. And then there's sort of a big story and then sort of like a small story at the end and the big story has to deal with the new doctor who's being introduced, kind of introduces you to the world. And then the other one is about the tiny doctor who has to go into a patient and then he has to come back out. And he's got to come back out. That's the rough part. It's coming back out. So
I kind of be down for like a tiny doctor.
Yeah.
But if it would be like not intrusive, like being go in my nostril.
Is pretty intrusive from the book.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good, but it is a little like oh. But yeah, so this one is really good, but I'm not sure because this is it's not really listed as a number one. I guess it is number one. But I'm not sure how they're going to continue the series. I'm not sure if they have more planned or if this is going to be kind of a one shot. So keep an eye out, but this one, it's definitely good for the sci-fi fans out there. I am one. A really cool artwork. And the artwork style also does change for the two different stories. So I'm not sure if they're going to have different artists and writers take over the same concept, which would be awesome to see, all these different artists and writers with their own take on Alien Hospital. So
I was thinking about you at New York Comic Con because NASA had like a big booth right in the center, and they actually had advertisement on there that they were making a comic book. And I don't know if they had it at the booth or if it was something that was coming out, but it looked like to be about a female astronaut, which was kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, if they do, you'll hear it here on Minute to Skim It, and I'll be talking about it because. Yeah.
I'm sure Bean's going to be a female astronaut someday. If you want to.
Maybe. If they offer, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I can totally see you as a mission specialist or payload specialist or any of those things. This one I did not read except for to make sure that I was right. So this one is Marvel Tales, Miss Marvel. And I would say it's definitely something to pick up because some of these are impossible to get unless you have a lot of money. So it has her very first appearance in Captain Marvel number 17, which I'm going to give you fair warning. The entire issue is not about her. She just shows up in like kind of like shadow form on the last page, and then her symbol, the symbol of her costumes on the last panel. And then point 1 is important to her storyline. You actually see her in action for the first time, and then it has Ms. Marvel number 1 and number 2. So you have 4 books in here to catch up with, and for $8, it's a really great deal because I think Captain Marvel number 17 you're gonna have to pay at least double digits for. I can't remember how much that actually costs right now, but it's a lot.
You get all those as pretty pennies.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right.
Funny bone.
My thick one of DC came out with a lot of thick books. Like, well, they're not very many of them, but just a couple of very thick books. So our first thick book this week from DC, which is absolutely amazing, is Batman the Imposter, which I think this one has been hyped already. And this is book 1. It's pretty, you can see it's a pretty thick book, though it does still fit with the board in the nice little the bag here. So this one is a really very classic Batman, where it starts off with the psychological and sort of him, battling his own demons and everything, and then it goes into a storyline that's not as focused on the like fighting, the physical. I'm sure that's going to come in. I'm sure that there will be a lot of like cool fight scenes and stuff, but I think this one really struck a chord with me because it's all like investigative. Because it's
actually be a detectioner.
Yes, he actually gets to be a detectioner in this one.
I love
And so the reason it's called the Imposter is because it basically sets up. It brings in this character who is a detective for the Gotham City PD, and she is sort of investigating who is Batman, and she starts finding some sort of weird things, and at the same time, Batman is also sort of catching on to some weird stuff, and all of a sudden, in the middle of all this sort of like them both kind of having their own investigations that something weird is going on, someone starts impersonating Batman. There is a Batman imposter who is murdering people.
rude.
And so it is very rude that they're murdering people. I mean, it is rude.
Batman's name, ultimate rude.
I know. And so it is not just like a crazy murder. This is somebody trying to sabotage Batman's reputation. It's so good, and it is, like I said, it's a little more slow paced than some of the other like comics where it's like bam, bam, action. This one is all like investigation, putting together the pieces. There's so many different people that could be behind this. Like, it is so good. I'm really excited to keep reading it because
It was me. I was behind the whole thing.
oh no,
Just so I could say it was rude.
Oh,
Djinn is the murderer.
Andrea Sorrentino art in the inside and Jordi Belair.
It's
So that's all you
beautiful.
really need to know.
Yeah.
I did not know that they were working on that book. That's awesome. All right, so that you don't get confused, World of Darkness ties into, this is a vault book, it ties into Vampire the Masquerade. So I didn't know when I first started reading the book. I didn't need to know that, and I didn't need to have read the series to know what's going on, except for the main character, who is, in all appearances, female, has given herself the title Prince, but she's Prince of the vampires, so she can do what she wants. So they found new trouble is afoot as she's making plans for her new reign, but there is, I think they call them something else, but I'm going to call them lichen. There is werewolves afoot. So it's all about them trying to figure out where they are. Culminates in the very last page with you actually get to see the leader of them. So if you love all titles that have vampires and werewolves, you probably tell that's what's in this book actually because it's on the front.
Oh my.
Add it to your poll. Make sure they don't miss it. If you're a Vampire the Masquerade puller, make sure that they understand you in the world of darkness also.
Nice.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Alrighty.
You just hit your elbow too?
I did.
It's not funny.
You notice how she doesn't react at all. She's like,
I didn't hit my funny bone, or I would have reacted. I hit the bony part.
I don't know. I learned some crazy things about being today and grandma, so I'm not.
Oh
surprised
no!
that that's
Don't
gonna-
say that. That sounds bad. All right, today, not talking about the grandma thing.
We're
I
I'm just saying I'm interested.
did you get to read his Zenoscope?
I did. This is my
Yeah.
first Zenoscope that I have ever read, and
Give it to us for real.
it
Tell us the way you feel.
was so good. That is how I feel. This is Rise of the Djinn, and I don't know. I don't think I really had an expectation for Zenoscope. I mean, I had heard that they were really, really good, and they have really good empowered female characters, and that's exactly what we got. This is such a good story, and it follows Tamara, who's the main character there on the cover, and she is a police officer, and it starts off showing you that there are going to be, like, obviously there's going to be fantasy elements in the story, but then it really focuses on her, and she goes through the ringer in the first part of this book. It's rough. So she is a police officer, and she goes into like a hostage situation where this guy who's a serial killer has this little girl like trapped, and this happens in like the first few pages, so it's not too much of a spoiler, but her husband, who's also a police officer, is killed in that.
No.
And then almost immediately after that, she gets diagnosed with cancer.
Okay, so they're going to do what's supposed to be all second act stuff in the first act.
Yeah, this is in like the first like 5-6 pages of this book. Like, that's the intro, is like everything bad that could happen to a person.
That sounds about right. Prisons.
And then actually, like, so she goes back to work after all of that, which actually fits perfectly with the character. It's not one of those like railroaded things. It's like, that's her character. It's like, I'm going back to work. I'm going to go find this murderer, because he ended up escaping. And actually, a third horrible thing happens to her. Like, another horrible thing happens to her. But I'm not gonna. That is starting to get into spoilers. So
And then
basically,
she hit her funny bone.
She definitely hit her funny bone when the bad thing happened. She hit a lot of things, and so she goes back to work, and she's working, and like this other horrible catastrophe happens to her, and through that, and it's sort of been hinting that she has her own supernatural powers. It's been hinting at that, and then they're sort of revealed through the trauma of this third horrible thing that happens to her. So, like I said, it's awesome. You get so invested in this character so early. Like, she is such a kick-butt character, and like I said, she is just like out for blood, and she's about to get the powers to be able to really go after this guy. So it's awesome, and this is a 1 of 3, so just 3 issues. Also, it does not have a cover C like Zenoscope usually does. No cover C for this one, so
I feel like she should hang out with Hope, Dirk Manning's Hope.
Oh,
Dirk Manning basically said in the second story arc that it's going to be worse for her. How could it get any worse for her? I don't know.
oh
But if you've
man,
never read Hope by Dirk Manning,
they
oh
could
my gosh,
they could go to the
Dirk will find a way.
Dirk.
they could go to a support group together for comic book characters that have been terrorized by their
Through the
writers.
ringer.
Yeah.
I think we both read Mazebook
Yes, we
by Jeff Lemire. In the first issue, find out that the main character's daughter has died, and that he is having a hard time coming to terms with this. And he gets a phone call in the middle of the night or early in the morning, depending on what time you think is late at night, that appears to be from her saying, "Come get me, I'm in the center," essentially is what she said, what the voice says. So that was where issue number 1 left off. You should be able to find it. You should still read it because the book is gorgeous. The art is stunning. And then you get to issue number 2.
which is where he is trying to follow up on this sort of clue that he's gotten from the phone call. It's a really interesting book because you really don't know. It's one of those where you're like, is there actually something sort of supernatural? Is he actually hearing from the ghost of his daughter, or is he having a mental breakdown? And I love those books. I love those books where it's ambiguous, and he is going out to try to find out what she means by saying that she is in the center. We find out that she loved mazes and that she did tons of them when she was in the hospital with whatever illness eventually killed her. And he sort of begins a psychological journey into trying to solve this mystery of if she's inside of a maze, where is the maze? Yep. And like I said, it is beautiful. And I don't feel like you read the book. I feel like the book just sucks you in, and you're in the maze too. Is how you feel. Like, I love it.
It's one of those things that there's like there are literal threads that are laid in the book to follow. And when you see it, you'll understand what I mean by literal threads. If you buy and read Mazebook and love it and want to know something else you should pick up and read, AD After Death is another book that has the same mood and tone and gorgeous art. So heads up, today is a bad idea day. It was supposed to be last week, but because of transportation issues and slowdowns at the printers, which is going to continue, by the way, just be patient with release dates, because literally the publishers and the print houses and those guys can't make it any other way than it is right now. Supply chain, they just have to wait on things to arrive so they can get things done. So just be patient. It's going to show up. Monster Kill Squad number 2 has a giant drop of information in it. One of the characters that is on the squad is not all they seem to be. And there are further developments in the relationship between the pagan member of their group and the Christian member of their group. That kind of like they work through their beliefs with each other, which is kind of cool the way they do it. It sounds really dry, doesn't it? But they're doing it while they're fighting monsters.
Oh my goodness.
And there might be something else going on there too, which is kind of cool. And you hear a little bit more about the background about why the monsters are there, where they came from. They've mentioned Pandora's box and the fact that they tried to destroy it. And did they destroy it? They're not really 100% sure, but they're 100% sure about the fact that the monsters appear to be trying to gather something together, which they now believe are maybe the pieces of the box. Which the box is how they travel from whatever dimension they're coming from. So. Kill Squad.
Get that. Always leave Pandora's box alone. Just leave it alone.
Never open that thing.
Gotta fix that box. Gotta send them back. All right, let's see. I'll do my other Batman that came out this week, and this is Batman: The Audio Adventures Special number 1. And this one was really fun. It is anthologized, sort of like it's got sort of a main story that starts off with, and then it's got a couple of smaller ones, and then like a very short one at the end. The last story is only 1 page, and it just kind of, the Joker is creepy. Like that's the story, the last story. But I love it. It was awesome, you know. And this one, so I haven't listened to the audio adventures. I think they're out. I mean, it says they're now streaming on the back.
It's like a podcast.
Yes. Yeah, I believe so. It says new podcast series now streaming from HBO Max, which is confusing because that's a TV thing. But, you know, whatever. It's 2021. Who knows what's going on?
We'll take it.
Yeah. And so this one's really fun because it is also, speaking of like not really knowing technology, it's all over the place. But it's a fun book. So who cares? Because it has like 1950s like broadcaster, and it has an actual narrator who is like, nice. And I don't think he's on the cover, but there's literally a narrator like walking around in a suit, like all right, what's the bat up to today? You know,
Well, that's a fine how do you do.
I know he's literally walking
That
around.
was good.
And so it's very fun, and they're talking about like speakeasies and things like from the 1950s, but then characters will like pull out their phone and text somebody. So it's a little confusing, but it's a lot of fun. It's very like it's the type of comic book where you put all that aside and you say, all right, I'm going to the speakeasy, going to text somebody about it, and just have fun. It's a very, very thick book. And
I don't think you're supposed to tell people if you're going to speak. I think it's assumed that's illegal.
yeah,
You should know the 3-word password, though.
yeah, no, it's, well, you got to text your buddy the password, right? So that he can get in too. That's how this works.
There's a place to eat near us that's in a British pub that the bathroom is behind a wall of books. You just have to know which wall to push. That's what everybody think of when you think of speakeasy. You feel like going to the speakeasy instead of the speakeasy. I don't know.
Oh, no, the peas.
Wow.
Oh no.
But it decided to do a whole show in like 20 speaks.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I could do it. I think I could do it for a little while. But yeah, so this one, it's a very fun book. It's I'm not sure if the stories in here are actually like what they're doing in the audio adventure or not, but they've got some really big names on it says back here, it says that Jeffrey Wright is Batman, John Leguizamo, Rosario Dawson, and more are voicing. So it's like a pretty good cast. Yeah, so that's very fun.
All right. And yes, I opened the poly bag. I've breached the barrier for Joseph Schmalke's Cherryback Blackbird #3. I was sad not to see him at New York Comic Con, but it looks like there was like some kind of reservation error, so he did not get to come. Oh no! Oh,
got him.
No one got to fight except for that book.
Yep.
So Cherry Blackbird, she's doing a really great job of going down and hunting down all of the demonic forces to try to that she's supposed to be making the hit on. If she does all of them correctly and fulfills her obligation, supposedly the devil will let her off of her selling of her soul. It does have still the same daily countdown. She's down at like day 94 until the soul must be given over. And she's on a bloody rampage. This is definitely not for kids. It has a lot of nudity and a lot of sexual situations. But you already know that when it has a name like Me Gusta Cocaine. Of all things, I think my favorite part about this book is one of the ways that she finds her next target. This is just really dumb. Like, it's not like she has to torture it out of the last being that she had to kill. It's just, it's hilarious. It's so technology of today that you just be like, you dummy, I'm a dumb demon. Anyway, so it's awesome. Don't miss it.
All right. Next up, I have Star Trek: The Mirror War #1. A while ago, I read #0, and so #1 came out this week, and it's awesome. It's like I guess I decided to do my 2 fun books at the end because this one, Star Trek: Mirror War, it's goofy. It's so much fun because it's literally what if Picard and the gang were just bad. Like, oh my goodness. At one point, very early in this book, they go to like a nightclub where there's this guy, and they're like, and this is Picard, and then someone that you don't know who they are because they're sort of like looks like a new character, like an alien, and they're like, hey, give us that money, and the guy's like, no, and then it turns out it's Mr. Data, and he like rips off the alien face, and it's Mr. Data. And then they just attack everyone, and they like take the guy's wallet, and they're like, LaForge can hack his bank accounts, and then they run off, and it's just Mr. Data just taking someone's wallet and like they're like mugging people, and it's so crazy, like, and it is great. Once again, like I said, in the Star Trek universe, beard equals evil. And
It does.
Riker actually, he usually has a beard, so now he has more beard. You can see he has two little like rat tails. Yeah.
So is that like a mustache? It's like evil, like beard. Like,
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you can see they all have their uniforms are sleeveless, and they all just have like huge muscles. And also one detail I really enjoyed is that Ensign Crusher is in the book. Of course, he's too young to have a beard, so they have him have spiked hair. He has spiky, like 90s hair, and that's how you know he's evil Ensign Crusher. So
Does Data have facial hair?
no, but he has like a big evil Borg eye. That's his. Yeah. So this one is so much fun. It is absolutely goofy. So yeah, it's very fun. I'm really looking forward to it because they're supposed to be doing special like offshoot like one-shot books from this as well, like coming up in the next couple of months, and I am really excited to see those. So
As Kyle mentioned, Gavin Smith's responsible for the art of this. I just happened to walk by his booth in Artist Alley, and he had pages out. He was working on it. He had like a big barrel-chested card, and I was like, I feel slightly aroused. I apologize. I said it would really be over the top if he had some chest hair. So he's just drawing. He's like, he starts drawing chest hair on him.
Oh my goodness.
I'm pretty sure he put a big X there because it was all in dark.
Oh,
But I was just like, if there's chest hair in that image, it's my fault.
yeah,
More hair equals more evil. Is that what we're getting at?
that is true.
I don't know. It just feels like
no.
to be a true bad boy, you have to have chest hair, right?
Yeah, he does in the series. I'm pretty sure Picard has a little
Just
there.
a little tough,
Yeah.
but not now. He's got
He doesn't have to have he doesn't have to have a fur shirt.
That's how you know he's that evil. It's
Yeah.
wrong.
If your beard matches up with your fur shirt.
Oh
We've gone too
Oh,
far. Gone too far.
All
Oh
right.
no.
no! Yeah, and Kenneth, you can't. We're not actually selling the books. We're just talking about the books right now. So
That's next hour. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Let's see. There's a whole bunch of trade paperbacks that come out this week, and they're not within reach for me right now. Otherwise, I'd show them to you, but definitely pay attention. I think that some of that is I've got
a lot of
that's
that's
stuff.
older right there. Yeah.
So we got a bunch of stuff. Make sure you need a grown-up. I do. Jenna's just showing me all kinds of stuff.
I like
Yeah.
trying to be able to throw something at
Oh,
you.
actually, I do
Yeah.
know. I think it's that little stack way over there. So I could go get it real quick.
Hey Jenny, we're gonna grab the ones that are actually near the ones on the table. We're gonna show you what trade paperbacks you can look forward to this week.
Alrighty.
Keep in mind also that because of the release schedule, or if your shop buys their stuff directly from SourcePoint or Scout or Mad Cave, there's a bunch of people that are self-distributing now. Just know that the release date's going to be different for a lot of stuff. So, but this is one you should really pay attention to. We bought a solid case of this. Noctera has its first trade paperback releasing this week. This one, we can never keep any of it in stock. Remember, it's a world that's gone completely dark, and if you get caught in the dark, it's really, really bad for you. It turns you into like a weird psycho creature.
You mutate the
You
things.
mutate into like really ugly, ugly stuff. It's horrible. And it's really about this one girl, and she has this like really cool 18-wheeler that she drives people around. It has big lights on it, so it keeps you from turning into a weird dark monster. And her trying to take care of all the people that she cares about and transport people she doesn't for money.
Her backstory really caught me off guard because she was already blind, and then she had surgery to see, and then the world blacked out all in a month.
Yep.
Like she was adopted, blind, and then they had the surgery, and then the world was like, nah.
She can be in the support group too, along with Tamara from Rise of Djinn.
Yes.
Also, I love it so much. Tyler Boss's Dead Dog's Bite. Be paying attention because Tyler Boss and Matt Rosenberg's new book series. You Can Never Go Home. Nope. Man,
Just
I
glitched
just
out.
lost it. They have two really long named books. Anyway, their new series is starting soon. Please forgive me. But Dead Dog's Bite is awesome. It's about a missing person. And their good friend comes back home to their hometown to try to search out what happened to them. My favorite thing about this book of all time is the name of the missing person is Cormac Guffin.
I like that name.
Cormac Guffin, which, by the way, if you say it really fast, turns into Core MacGuffin, because a MacGuffin is the thing that happens in a movie to further the plot only. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just there for plot furthering. So, and also if you are behind in Chilling Adventures of Sorcery comes out this week. And the Autumnal, which is a super creepy book that happens in Comfort Notch. Kat comes home after the death of her estranged mother, and takes her daughter, and they go home to Comfort Notch, New Hampshire, and it's everything bad there.
Perfect for the super spoopy season.
It's kind of funny; they all have the same colorway. These trade paperbacks today. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on Minute to Skim It. We're super thankful that you're here. Again, another reminder to check out a local comic shop near you. Even if you are not normally a comic shop goer, to keep comic shops alive doesn't take very much. The care and feeding of a local comic shop really is go in once a week and drop $5 on something. And if we all do that, then they'll be healthy and happy. You don't have to spend $1 million to make it happy.
Or come in once every couple months and just buy a big old stack of trades. That works too. If your work is crazy and your life's crazy, we know it. Yeah. Yeah.
And most of them have online presences too. So you could probably just check out their website and get it sent to you.
Yeah.
All these things are good. It's like this big ecosystem that has to keep flowing so we get the books to you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time for Minute to Skim It. This has been me and Bean.
Hello. Thank you. I guess I should say goodbye. All right. Bye. Thank you. See you next time.